Recording in progress. Hello, it's Mark Attwood here. Mark Attwood Show, Adventures of the Cosmic Suit. It's very late on a Monday night, very tired, but I'm bringing somebody on that I should have brought on 2.5 years ago. Don't know why I haven't. It's just that time has gone. I can't do the click. It's gone like that, hasn't it? So yes, it's my great pleasure to welcome the amazing Michelle Fielding. Here she is. Dum, dum, dum. This is the problem with Zoom. It takes ages for people to come in the room. Like, you're late now. But I had to ad lib. Hello,
Hi,
Michelle.
how are you doing?
Why haven't we done this before? I don't know. I'm really sorry.
Well, where has the last 2.5 years just gone? It just goes really quickly. I can't believe, we're nearly into March already. It just kind of, the time just goes.
Well, you've been doing amazing work over the last 2.5 years. I've had many, many hours enjoying your videos across many platforms. For those of you who don't know, which is unlikely to be many of you, Michelle is a spiritual coach, a channeler, medium. Do we call you a medium?
Yeah, I do mediumship as well. Yeah.
I'm a large or a small on a Sunday morning. It's that's a really bad joke. Sorry. I used to be a medium until I went into the cold sea. Now, so what's it? Okay, so this is the good thing about never actually having spoken, even though we've been batting for the same team for a long time, is that I can ask you how the last 2.5 years have been for you.
Well, it seems such a long time that we've been doing this. There's been lots of twists and turns, and it hasn't really turned out the way that I initially thought it was going to. Like everybody else, I thought we were going to have an inauguration of Donald Trump and everything was going to be getting sorted out pretty sharp, pretty quick, and everybody was going to know what's going on. And instead, we're in this psychological game, it looks like. And I have been told that for 2.5 years, that this was all a psychological game. And you could actually start to look at this whole thing now and say, who are the good guys and who are the bad guys? Because some of the tactics that the white hats, that I get told the white hats are now performing to wake people up, you kind of sometimes have to think, who are the good guys and who are the bad guys at the moment. So of course I'm obviously on the side of the white hats, and I'm always told that they're in control. But if I actually got with some of these high-ranking white hats, I think I might have to have a word with them, because I think you and I, for instance, are carrying a lot, or shouldering a lot, and so are all the other people that are working in this field right now. And how long do they want us to do that, really, and keep rallying round and trying to keep people positive, because it's actually quite hard to keep people on board for this length of time.
No shit.
And so I'm wondering if it's starting to become counterintuitive now, the way that they're doing this strategy. I think it's going on too long. And I'm a loyal person, and so I stick with it. I stick things out, I stay with people, and I stay with this plan, and I do support it. But I do think at some point now we need to start having some moves where it's more where people who are not like us can see what's going on.
Yeah, it's I just got abused at the local supermarket by somebody who thinks I'm a nutter. This is part of the whole thing, because it's an endurance test as much as anything else. And the thing that keeps me going is that I now know, I mean, the great thing about the last 2.5 years, which I call spiritual quarantine.
Yes.
I now know why I came to Earth. I know who I am. I know where I'm from. And that's pretty cool. And I know there's no such thing as death. And therefore, we've just got to laugh about as much of this as we possibly can, while we're moving along and developing spiritually, because that's what it is. It's just I think it's all driven by consciousness.
Well, this is the other thing. Before the crazy flu, I don't know what platforms we're going to be putting this on.
I'd like to put this on YouTube.
Okay.
But we can talk in code.
Before the crazy flu, my teachings and my understanding, my personal understanding of my journey was that everything that you want to happen on the outside, you have to do it on the inside first. And so I used to teach people that for many years. Go in, look at your shadow parts, heal them with light, and understand how your vibration affects everything around you, and just keep working on that. And then the crazy flu came, and we were being told, that we had to do it a different way. We had to look outside of ourselves at a darkness that was out there. And for a little while, I was a little bit confused. And I would say that over the last 2.5 years, what's happened for me is that I went in with that narrative because I was listening to everybody on YouTube and, the Truth and Movement. But I would say that where I am now is I'm coming back to me where I was before, which is instead of trying to look outside and fix this big problem out there, I've come back to, okay, let's just go back in and just find my inner peace, because it's been quite traumatic really for truthers, I think, because I had an inner peace before. And then suddenly I felt like I was being told that everything was wrong that I had thought was right and had kept me peaceful and centered. And so I kind of then started getting on the racetrack with all the others. And now 2.5 years along, I'm kind of thinking, actually, is that actually the right, should we be on this racetrack with all the others, or should we still be going back inside, finding our own inner peace and center? There's probably a balance between the two is probably the right answer, but it has been a little bit like this for me. I mean, at some points of this journey, I've kind of felt like I'm going a little bit, unwell, even getting unwell, because we're holding a lot of people in our hands. A lot of people look to us for support and guidance, and it's a very big responsibility. And however slowly and calmly you say something, it always gets twisted by somebody out of context, and then it creates as you know, on social media, it creates a big long reel of people responding in a negative way. And I've had to kind of learn how to get through that as well. Basically, I either delete it or I don't read it. Because if you take too much of that on board, which is all negative energy, which is attacking us, it's actually attacking our energetic field. So we're having to put up, I don't know if people realize this that watch us, but we're having to constantly reinforce the door around us. More than we ever did, I think.
Yeah, well, I resonate with that because I think it was Christmas 2020 when I didn't do any videos for about a week, and I sat down and went, what am I doing this for?
Yes.
Because it was all like chasing intel stuff. And I was like, I don't think that's my job. And so I spent a lot of time talking about spiritual stuff, healing stuff, doing poetry, trying to entertain people. And I didn't really understand why I was doing that until I actually met them. So when I did the tour in America, I met about 10,000 people. And wow. That's when I realized what this was about. And it was, I think we all got called, and, not all of us are real as well, which is also interesting because it gets even more interesting as you think about that. I know I am, because I look in the mirror every morning, but without actually meeting people, you don't know 100%. And I thought, well, it doesn't matter, right? I'm just going to plow forward and I'm going to follow my intuition. And it really strengthened my intuition. And I had a couple of realizations. If the bad guys were in control, we'd already be dead, because I knew what the plans were years ago.
Yeah.
especially the project for the New American Century and all of that. Go and read that, guys. If you've not heard of those, you should have done by now if you watch this channel. And the other one was, it was God talking to me. He'd already saved me from suicide a year earlier, and then said, right, now you're up. And I was like, okay. Then I started doing it. Didn't know what I was going to talk about. And then it just sort of all blurts out. And you know, I've learned that I'm claircognizant, that I've been around for 1.7 million years, that I'm from Andromeda, but I'm also Valiant Thor's son, and I've got all this crazy stuff coming at me.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of any of that is true. And I always say that to my audience, you know, take everything with a pinch of salt, take everything that resonates, don't the rest. I don't go around saying I'm the galactic commander of the East Wing of the Andromedan forces, you know. I don't, because that's you know, that's just science fiction really at this stage, even though there's a lot of truth behind all of that. So for me, it's really been, and I totally agree. I mean, I got told years ago, don't talk about satanic ritual abuse, don't talk about the New World Order, this is an inside job. And I've always been of the opinion, yeah, but people need to know what the enemy is. We have to know there's a real enemy, and we need to know who it is and what it is before we can work out how we're going to deal with it. But it has all come back to this every day for me too. And also, as you said, where's the time gone?
Yeah.
So time is moving around. Timelines have shifted. I felt them. I've seen them. You know, and I'm glad you said the way that you said it, because I've said many times, the real story is not what we put on video, it's what goes on when you're not on the camera, with the psychic attacks, in my case, demonic attacks. All the other really annoying things, like PayPal being closed down and Linktree being closed down, and the fuel lines of my car were cut in 2020. You know, stuff like that. But
I mean, last year I had a crazy year. Too many things to even mention. And like you said, it's your bank accounts being affected. You can't put anything up anywhere because it just gets taken down. Then in your actual real life, nothing is going how it should do because something crazy is going on. You know, and you have to be careful about saying where you're located and what you're doing. I mean, it's just become really crazy, really. And like at the moment, I've moved on to locals.com, and you wouldn't believe the amount of negativity that you get because you've asked for £5 when you've been working really essentially for 3 years for people on YouTube, and you haven't been asking them for anything. And then when you are in a corner and there's no other options, they don't want to support you. And I find that incredible, really. I find that really, really incredible that they are very rude, saying, you know, you should be giving us the information because you've got it. But I mean,
you grifter. I love that. I love that word, grifter. I used to have a grifter when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, yes, the bike. Is that the one with the tassels on the handlebars?
That was a tomahawk.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, that was the grifter. The tomahawk was the little version of the grifter, I think.
It was the one with the like tassels on,
the really high handlebars like that.
Yeah, yeah.
70s. I'm a 70s kid.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is that people don't understand that you don't just get up and you have intel. You have to do a lot of work, you know. I mean, you're brushing your teeth and you're watching videos. I mean, you never get away from, you know, trying to keep up with everything.
It's 24/7.
You don't have a weekend off, you know, you don't really have any spare time. When you're not listening to a video, you're having ideas coming in that need to be jotted down, that then need to be channeled. So, you know, I think that people don't really understand the extent of how much this, you and me are really kind of switched up, plugged in, I should say, the whole time. We don't really get a break.
Well, I know what you mean. It's like life is on pause. You can't really develop a personal life. I can't move anywhere. I can't go anywhere really. But we volunteered for this. Right? We volunteered. And that's what keeps me going, actually, because then Do you know what actually I do to if I start feeling stressed and tired and, you know, worked up and anxious, I just go outside and start talking to the ships. And they
Yeah,
always respond and cheer me up.
yeah,
And then I come back in and I'll make a video. I'll do a silly voice thing on Telegram or whatever, and
yeah.
just keep going. Because
But we just have to do what we know best. Okay, so, you know, I can only put out the stuff that I understand, that I'm being told right now. And the interesting thing is, Mark, that before the crazy flu, I had a business where I taught people in my home, in groups, how to bring in light, how to meditate, how to meet their angels, all sorts of things like that. I did that as a living. And then the crazy flu came, and of course that all had to stop. So I had to then come online. And then, as I said, I started hearing this other perspective that I hadn't heard before. And then, even crazier, I start having dreams about Donald Trump, and I start getting channeling about things that aren't to do with angels and aren't to do with the things that I would normally have. And it is about all this military strategy. And to this day, right now, I don't know why they give me military. I mean, when they started to put together the Starlink story with Elon Musk, I used to say to Nick, because we're going back 2 years ago now, I used to say to Nick, I'm the only one talking about Elon Musk. And I was scared because, you know, I have got a good connection, I believe my connection, but I was still the only one standing out in front of everybody saying, this is what's going to happen. We're going to have this super computer called Starlink, and Elon Musk is doing it all, and everything's going to run off of it. And I mean, now we're all used to that story. It sounds like old hat. But when I was saying it, I was the first person coming up to the front saying, you know, this is what it's going to be. And it's a bit like the CBDCs and all the other things, and the way that I explain it, I'm normally one of the first people that's stepping out at the front. You know, and that creates in itself a lot of attack on levels that, you know, a lot of people don't see.
Yeah. Well, I think most of those negative comments are AI.
I believe that, yeah.
Because I think AI is controlling this whole matrix, and it's like when you do something, it triggers an alarm, and then they come and they do their thing and try to wear you down, because they can't genuinely hurt you, but they can kind of wear you out psychologically, because it is psychological.
Well, what they do actually is they goad everybody else. So it's not so much that it's because it's in your feed, it's because everybody else in the feed then all jumps on top of that and starts, you know, creating more. So, you know, what I suppose we could say to people is, when you see those negative comments, don't get drawn into them. You know, if you've got something constructive to say, and it might not be in agreement, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to agree with what I'm saying. Of course you don't. But also what you don't want to be doing is falling for this AI nonsense, where you're then creating this big long thread of negativity and fear and arguments. Generally, I just delete those anyway. But even today, you know, I was talking to Nick earlier, and his Rumble channel is completely full of it, full of those bots. And I said to him, why don't you just, you know, take them all off, you know, delete them all? But he said he wants it to just look like a genuine feed, you know, just be what it is, which is his choice. But I mean, it's horrible the way that technology does that, you know? Yeah.
And it's they come through people as well. I don't know if you've experienced that. So anybody, they look for the weaknesses. You know, if you love somebody, you know, children, wife, husband, whatever, or any member of the family, or they will come. The demons and the AI are basically the same thing. and they come through, and it's like just a whisper in their ear, just a bit of doubt here and a bit of doubt there, and then it twists them, and then
Yeah.
suddenly, you know, that's the real story for me behind the scenes, is all that kind of dealing with all of that kind of stuff. So I find it very difficult to trust anybody.
So that's why I don't do very many interviews with other than with the people that I know.
Yeah, well, I feel like I know you, even though we've only exchanged texts over the last couple of years a few times. But
I know.
it is
But
funny how that.
You know what I mean? In the beginning, I was into, you know, someone would say, oh, let's do an interview and we do something together. And then I would find out, for whatever reason, there had been some backstabbing or something unkind had been said. And in the end, I just thought, you know what, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. So I ended up really coming back to just a very small amount of people, which I think you probably know that. And I don't do huge amounts of recordings anyway, because I don't just talk for the sake of it normally. I mean, to get me talking like this, Mark, is actually very rare.
No, I'm very pleased that you agreed to do it. Even though you wanted to fall asleep before you got on.
I know. Normally,
do that. We were going to just sit here for an hour sleeping.
Yes, because it's quite late, Mark, for me. It's way past my bedtime. I mean, normally I only do a video because I've got new information. I don't just make videos. You know, I don't just make videos for the sake of making videos. It's normally because something new has come in. And what they've been doing with me is they've been giving me a story. So each time you hear me, you hear the next part of it. So like we had the Starlink story start 2 years ago. And that's what where I'd started with that story with you a minute ago. I had been teaching about angels and spiritual groups. And then all of a sudden I was getting information about military strategy. And I had to question, like you were saying, am I supposed to be doing that? But then I thought to myself, well, why would I be hearing it if they didn't want me to be the voice for that?
Exactly.
Because why would I be getting told about military? I don't have any military background, you know, so I don't even understand these things really. Because
you communicate it so well, and you communicate it at a level that people can understand it. If they got some soldier there with a beret on going, everybody like, what? Not interested in that. But you're a human being. People can relate to you.
I think also what it is, Mark, is that if you're not in a certain industry, like at the moment, they're starting to give me information about the quantum financial system, which is another crazy thing. You know, I can't even do my own accounts, you know, and then they start telling me about the quantum financial system. And I think it's because, like you were saying, because I so don't understand it that I have to break it down into very baby steps, you know, like, well, what is what is it? And what do you mean when you say blockchain? And I think that's why people maybe resonate with my work, because like you said, we're really breaking it down into very simplified terms so that people can understand, you know, what maybe is going on.
Yeah, well, they gave me poems.
Yes, I know.
Yeah,
we all have our thing that they've given us to help, like you said, whoever resonates with us, then we're helping that group of people.
Which is amazing. You've done an amazing job.
I think it's amazing, but it's also a big responsibility. And sometimes you have to take a bit of a breath. If something new starts coming in, I mean, I literally say to Nick, oh my God, you know, this is like, no one else is saying this, you know, it's almost like a fear, but I know I have to do it because I know that that's what I'm being asked to do, even though it's such a long way from what I was doing before, because why would I be getting given that information if they didn't want me to say it?
Exactly.
I keep thinking every month I'm going to stop now. I don't want to do it anymore.
No, you keep going.
And then you can't stop, because you think I'm not going to do it anymore. And then you're doing the washing up and there's another thing comes in. You get given a vision, and then you know they're ready to give you the next segment. And I expect
you're working her too hard. All right.
So is that like you, Mark? You're doing the washing up and then a poem comes in.
Yeah. I'm driving and I'm like, oh my God, and I had to turn back and go and get it out. And then I get the video and it's full of spelling mistakes, and I get it out, and then they just dry up, and then they come back again. And it's like, it's just
right. Yeah. You can't make channeling happen. This is something else that people don't understand. You can't just, to a certain extent, it's on demand, but they tell you in their time. So all the pieces that I've had over the 2 years, and I can't believe I'm saying it's been that long, is now making a coherent story. But when they were saying, oh, 2 years ago you said that, and then you have to look at the whole story as it's unfolding, and you'll see it's correct. They can't give it to you until the timing is right.
Exactly. It's all divine.
Yeah.
So for people watching this that might not have seen you, when you say they, who are you referring to?
So that depends on the subject matter. So if I was doing a spiritual teaching, then I would get the Great White Brotherhood coming through. So they're a team of what we call ascended masters that are at their very highest level. And they are from different schools of learning. So depending on what they want me to channel to the audience, a different master will come in. So it could be Jesus. Okay, it could be Jesus come in. Sometimes it's actually God consciousness itself. It just depends. So if it's a spiritual teaching, it would be like that. If it's something which is what we would call more mundane, this level, then it will be my spiritual guides. And so when I say they, I said to them, right, that's me asking them. That's normally a group of people that are around me. I can feel them now because I just said it. And for some reason, I've got military and now quantum financial people around me. and I don't know why. And so when I then present to them a question, like please can you tell me in simple terms, what is quantum financial system? I normally have a pen and a pad. And then they start to tell me. And then as we get going, I have a conversation back and forth. And so they could be an angel, it could be a spiritual guide, it could be ascended master, it could be God consciousness. It depends on having the right tool for the right job. So you wouldn't have an angel telling me about military strategy because they're not interested in that. That's not an angel's job. Okay. You wouldn't have Jesus telling me about the QFS. That's not his job either. He's not interested in that either.
That's a shout, because I'd like to see Jesus with short back and sides and a tie on. That'd be quite funny. I'm Jesus. I'm now a banker.
Yeah. Yes, and you need to get some Bitcoin.
Hello, I'm Jesus. I'm not a financial advisor, but I highly recommend you buy gold.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just having a laugh.
Well, Jesus likes that. I mean, all of the spiritual people love us having this lightheartedness. They don't want it to be heavy and difficult, and it has been quite heavy. How
else are you supposed to get through this crazy shit?
Exactly.
You've got two choices, I think. Two choices. You get depressed about it, or you just keep laughing at it.
Yes. I think you have to keep as upbeat as you can. There's enough things already to bring everybody down if you keep looking at it too much. So you've got to understand that we are actually winning this. We are, like you were saying, and I'm always saying this, if the white hats weren't in control, you know, we'd have the military walking down the road, knocking on the door.
Oh, we'd be gone.
It would all be over, because with the technology we've got now, I mean, it wouldn't take anything to turn this into a very bad story very quickly.
Well, you know, they built the FEMA camps. They had millions of coffins. So this was 10, 12 years ago. Alex Jones has shown videos of all that kind of stuff. You know, they were getting ready. They were getting ready to cook us.
And the technology that we have now, if it's in the wrong hands, it could obliterate everything just like that. So, you know, when we had this balloon story days ago,
that was me. That was me.
Was it you?
Yeah. I was like, off you go. There was it was actually a helium balloon. It's from a DFS 50th birthday party. Yeah. And when they shot it down, it said, "Congratulations, you've won a sofa" on the bottom of it.
Well, I did actually laugh out loud at the whole thing, because do people really think that when I'm channeling about Web 5, Web 7, which is a very high-tech level of blockchain which the military are currently working on, do they really think that a balloon could leave Chinese airspace and not be seen? And it could actually get as far as Ohio.
But that's the other thing I've been saying is, like, the Resident actor, what's his name? He's been in for a couple of years. There's a massive arm of the military that Donald Trump set up. He's never mentioned it once. Space Force, everybody, Space Force. And do you think that Space Force wouldn't have the technology to see a fucking balloon? I mean, it's blatantly.
Now the other thing is, like with Space Force, for instance. Again, that's, how would I know anything about that? I'm an angel teacher, right? And about 2 years ago, it must be now, because time just flies, doesn't it? I started to say on Nick's interviews that there would be military guardians, and the military guardians would oversee the Starlink. And about 2 months ago, I nearly fell off my seat when I'm in LinkedIn, and a lot of the Space Force stuff comes through there now, because I've sort of signed up to it all, because now it's sort of coming through all the time. I'm interested in it. It wouldn't be something that would have been in my LinkedIn before, you know. And I nearly fell off my seat, because they're now talking about the Guardians. It's the new thing they're just bringing in. And they're actually recruiting everyday people, I saw today, to be military guardians, to work for the military as a guardian. Now, this word guardian is quite a specific word, isn't it? It's not just something you could dream up, you know. And so that's something else that keeps me going, because that's so very specific. You know, I'm always on the phone, Nick, do you remember when I said that 2 years ago about the Guardians? It's in LinkedIn.
Yeah, I have similar conversations with Tom Numbers, and he goes,
"Oh yes."
He goes, "Donald Trump mentioned us the other night." I went, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, he said the Tom, the Mark," and I'm like, "Is he nuts?" But the whole thing's so nuts that I believe it. You know, I'm open-minded to all of it.
Last summer, I actually met Tom Numbers in London for an evening, and when you walk around London with Tom, he's going,
which I have done.
Yeah, he's going, Tower of London, 44. Yeah, or there's a bus goes by, 69. And it's
well, you know, you left me a WhatsApp message earlier, 17 seconds long.
Really? There you go, you see. Yeah. So it's quite funny walking around London with Tom Numbers, because you get to know the numerology of every like place in London. Every sightseeing place has got a specific number.
Yeah, well, see, there is fun to be had in the Matrix when you see it for real. I mean, I saw a 5D sun the other day at a stone circle.
Right.
The videos on my channel, we made a film about it, and this 5D sun, the sun actually became something totally different. It was after we'd been to the stone circle, we cleared these stones because I got told while I was in the circle that there was a blockage over there, and these big thing, these kind of antennas all the way around, convergence point of 9 ley lines. I was told in the circle, this is extremely powerful, possibly the most powerful one, definitely the most powerful one in Britain, but it's been hidden. And then I got told there's a blockage, found this thing with Victoria Regina on it. And then we found 9 others with VR on. We cleared them. There was a 10th one with George Rex. Sorry, listeners, if you've already watched this film, I'm just telling Michelle. George Rex, Queen Elizabeth II, and I got told these have been blocking the energy and diverting it. We cleared them all. As soon as we cleared the last one, the sun came out of nowhere because it was a totally grey overcast sky in Derbyshire. And I looked at it and I was like, what the? And it just became something else. And it was like a big circle like this with a black outline and a light going around it like this. And in the middle of it, it was all kind of plasma electricity.
Wow.
We were looking right into it. And then it started emitting these different colors. And that's to add to my ever-growing list of weirdness, like the dragon I saw made of light that flew over my friend's head a year ago.
Wow.
The UFO, the big triangular ship here covered in hieroglyphics, which was really interesting because what was I doing? I was reading something. Yeah, this is weird because I've never seen anybody do pictures of UFOs with hieroglyphics on. But I was reading a book yesterday. Was it? Damn, I can't remember what it was. I was reading a book yesterday. Oh no, I was watching a video with a guy on The Dark Journalist. That was it. And I find it really funny how this happens because you get drawn to these videos and they just the right one pops up for you at the right time to tell you something or to confirm something because it's all divine. We know. And this guy was talking about the Roswell incident actually, and he showed these hieroglyphics on these pictures that not many people have seen. I was like, they're the same ones. And it's like, it's all these pieces confirming it all together. Yeah. That's what keeps me going because I have these crazy, well, I say they're crazy. They're amazing. You know, they're not crazy. These moments.
When I teach about angels, you get signs and synchronicities that helped you to show you that you're on the right track.
Yeah.
And it's the same. So for you, that could be that you're getting signs and synchronicities through seeing UFOs and their hieroglyphics. It just depends what your path is. So like you were saying, for you, that was important for you in that moment so that you could say, yes, that is real. This is actually happening. It was confirming to you that you're on the right path. And we all need that.
Yeah, and you get shown as much as you can take or as much as required. The same as you get the story pieces together over time.
Yes.
Because people couldn't cope with it all at once. And I had this vision of a massive multi-dimensional chessboard, like with billions of pieces, and we're all pieces on it, and we're all being moved around exactly as is required to achieve the outcome, which is that God wins and we ascend. You know, that's what I keep getting. And so that's why it's not easy, but I still go, fuck it, shrug my shoulders, get up the next day.
I'm also feeling like a lot of us have already finished what we needed to do, but it's already all done. Like, people keep saying it's all done. I do actually feel like it's all done. And that we're just here now playing this role, you and me, to help the others. We've actually done it all though already. But we feel like we're getting called all the time because there's all the others to bring along with us now. But I do feel that energetically, we've actually completed everything. I
felt that about a year ago.
Yes, I feel like as a universe, we've actually completed it. But now we're just bringing everybody else up. And I think that's why last year, energetically, it was really harsh. The energies were terrible last year. Really like clashing everywhere. It was like really hard to find a momentum for me anyway.
No, I mean, it was obstacle after obstacle after obstacle.
It was, yeah.
And I just kept visualizing. There's this film, I've mentioned it a few times, called I Pet Goat 2. And there's a scene at the end of it where Jesus is stood in a rowing boat, but he's surrounded by things falling down, and
Yeah.
Waves crashing and bad weather and all that kind of stuff. But he's just zen in the middle of it, and his third
Yeah.
eye's glowing like this, and he's just.
Yeah.
I just keep imagining. I find that visualization really useful for me, and then I drink a bottle of wine.
Yeah. What I tend to do actually is when the doors aren't opening, I just actually pull back. So rather than forcing it and striving through, I teach this quite a lot before even the crazy flu. If you're striving, you're going out of alignment. You should just be flowing. And if the flow today is that you just relax, that you don't do anything, that you just stay and you just be, that's powerful. Because everybody is always worrying about creating activity. They want to be doing all the time. And doing isn't necessarily the best way to be in a high vibration. Being is the way to being in a high vibration. So if the energies are not aligned, maybe it's telling you, okay, just pull back. Just don't force anything right now, because there's a lot of stuff realigning. And, sometimes what happens is when they're trying to recreate a new path for you, a new direction, a new level of vibration, everything that you had before has to be thrown up in the air and rearranged. While it's up there being rearranged, you don't quite know where you're going right now because it's just not ready yet. So that's when you pull back and you just say, okay, that's fine. I'll just wait till I get my next sign or my next synchronicity, and don't panic. And last year I did myself feel a little bit panicky because all the normal support structure that you normally have around you suddenly felt like it really had been thrown up in the air, and it hadn't come back. I was like, well, hello guys, where are you? And they were just sort of aligning themselves, and now they've come back down again, and now off we go again. But for a little while it felt a bit scary there for a minute. But you see, that is a sign of progress. That's you having a promotion. That's them showing you, right, you're ready for something else now. So we need to shuffle this up a bit and then bring it all back down in a different way, and then off we go again. But in that moment, it can test your faith.
Well, it's all a test of faith, isn't it?
Yes.
All of it.
Normally I'm fine with that. But last year it was a really hard test of faith, I mean, I swore at God probably every day last year. And normally I'm not a person that swears, and I wouldn't normally swear at God, but the last sort of, I would say 18 months, I've done nothing but but both of those things.
Yeah, I concur with that. I've tried to explain to people. I've written a few poems with a few swear words in, and but trying to explain to Christians in America that they came from God as well, they just didn't buy it. But it's whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Our job is to get up tomorrow and be productive, whatever that means. I don't mean you have to be doing. I mean, I actually went back to bed after the kids went to school this morning. I put myself to bed.
I think sometimes that's needed though, because
and I went and watched Star Trek Picard season 3. It's actually very good.
I think some days you just do have to have, if it doesn't feel like you're going to achieve very much, then it's not the day to do it. And then if you allow yourself to agree with that and you don't push through, then you'll get 10 times the amount of things done tomorrow.
Yeah. Wise words.
Yeah.
So you still doing any is this just taking over your life, or do you do anything else, like with the old business? Do you do any of that stuff?
I don't actually have a life, Mark. This is
neither do I. You should see the state of this office. Every time I come in, I'm like, where am I going to start?
There is no structure really to my life anymore now. It's kind of gone a little bit haywire in the last 2 years. So no, the old stuff, I mean, I do have clients that come to me for soul readings. So that's probably the only bit where I'm still working in the old me, if you like. Everything I'm doing now is new, is all, you know, all this internet type of work is really quite different to what I was doing before. But interestingly, Mark, before the crazy flu, I had been saying to my group people that I was going to start changing what I was doing, and I was going to go online, because I was getting told I had to stop doing groups and I had to reach out internationally. So years and years before, I had a very successful Facebook page before it all started getting censored. And I used to write about angels, and I used to have a traffic of 8 million a day. And then it all started getting censored, and now I hardly get 2 people look at it. So then I went into group work, and now they were saying to me in 2019, we need you to go back international. We need you to get back on to the computer. I didn't actually know how that would make money, or how that could make an income. I didn't know anything. I didn't even know how to plug a microphone, or I didn't know about Zoom or anything. And I'd already started telling my groups that I was shutting that down, and that I was being told I had to go back up and teach international. And I thought it was going to be, you know, the old work that I'd done before on Facebook, but now on Zoom. And then the crazy flu came. And that's why they had been telling me, we need you to go back onto an international, you know, so I could get to more people.
Yeah.
So they were already prompting me, but of course I didn't know why. I didn't know there was going to be this craziness. But when it did start happening, the first thing I thought was, there's something not right. That was the first thing I started thinking. And then the second thing I started thinking was, my God, this must be the awakening, you know, the mass awakening. But I just knew immediately when that story started to hit the UK about the crazy flu, I just thought this is not right. None of this is right. This is not true what we're being told.
If you write a book about it, you should call it When the Crazy Flu Came. That's a great title for a book, isn't it?
The crazy flu, the creaky flu.
I mean, yeah. it's still crazy. There's still people out there doing this. It's like, what are you doing? But
I was at the vets. I'm in Europe at the moment, although I'm not going to disclose exactly where, but I was at the vets yesterday. Actually, is it Monday today? What day is it, Mark?
I don't know.
Whatever day, I don't think it was yesterday, because that was Sunday. It must have been Friday. See, I don't even know what day I'm on. Went to the vets, and I'm in a different country, and they're all there with their masks on, but they speak good English. So I actually said to the vet, what are you doing with that? What are you still doing with that mask on? And she was taken aback. She didn't quite know what to say. She was embarrassed, actually. And then she waited a moment, and then she said, well, we wear it because some of our customers don't like it if we don't have a mask on. And I said to her, do you think they work? And then she said, oh, well, and she was trying to look for an answer. She said, well, you know, the virus is changing now. It's changing in. I said, but that's what viruses do, isn't it? They do that. And then I said to her, are you going to wear that mask for the rest of your life? And you could see that when I said that, are you going to wear that mask for the rest of your life? Because that's what viruses do. I think that made her kind of think. For that, she hadn't really thought about it. She had just decided that they were wearing a mask because some of the customers don't like it if they don't have a mask on. But then when I said to her, but that's what viruses do, they mutate, and you can't do that for the rest of your life, can you? You could actually see like a little light bulb going on, you know, but it's really quite scary that people still want to wear masks after all this amount of time.
Well, they must enjoy it.
Oh, I don't know what they're doing. I saw this woman walking around the supermarket yesterday, and she had, imagine this is a mask. So she had it in her hand, and she was walking around putting it against her mouth. And then when she was looking at vegetables or whatever, she was pulling it away and looking at the vegetables and then putting it back again. And there was another couple in the supermarket that saw her doing that, and we all just burst out laughing.
Well, that's why I think there's still some going around doing that, so that everybody else laughs. I mean, but I mean, you know, we are. I'm going to write a book about this. It's just too good not to. I think I'm looking forward to the films and all the good stuff later. But I know I've kept you up late, and I really appreciate it. I know you wanted to be, it's past your bedtime and everything, but my subscribers would kill me if I didn't ask you what's the latest stuff you've been getting.
Well, do you want to know about like the newsy type things, like the balloon, or just generally?
What's your intuition saying? What are they saying to you? Because they'll tell you.
Well, there's two things that I'm getting at the moment. Firstly, that we are moving into a quantum financial structure, that they keep telling me that is actually happening, and that there will be some sort of digital cash. And whether you want to call it crypto or e-cash or digital cash, I think it's going to be all of those things. And I also think there's going to be physical currency as well. And I think that it's not so much about that there's a problem with the particular crypto or the e-cash. It's more about, again, who's in control and how the system is set up to run. And the information that I'm getting is that it is being set up to run in a good way. So that's good news. The second thing is that a lot of all these stories that we're seeing, like the balloons, and I'm just pre-seeing obviously everything, the balloons and the UFO sightings and the satanic stuff at the Grammys and the Super Bowl, all of that is just to wake people up. It's not actually supposed to be making you all frightened and worried. It's just for the other people that still don't get it. So when we've got Sam Smith,
I was going to mention him. I was just thinking, because I share that stuff just to show how ridiculous it all is.
I know. I saw your Twitter the other day. I think I wrote something underneath. Sam Smith is actually working for the White Hats.
Yeah, I know he is.
You know,
I want to spread the thing. Look at this fucking idiot, and then people go, "Oh yeah, what's he doing?"
Well, I don't think he's doing it willingly. I think he is being, because he's got that extreme left, like you were saying, this Fisher them, and you know, there's no gender identity with him. It's all them. I think they're making him do the white hat exhibition thing that he does to wake people up. And he's being, not punished is probably not the right word, but it's probably because he's so far to that left storyline that they've brought him in. So I'm not saying he's involved in anything satanic with children or anything like that, but I think they're just trying to bring him back to center by, you know, getting him to work for the White Hats. And they're probably saying to him something like, if you want to keep your career, you need to start working for us. Just like before, where people were told, if you want to be a big famous singer, you've got to sign up to this satanic world. Now they're being told the same thing. If you want to keep your job, this lovely job and this Hollywood role, now you've got to work for us.
Nobody's given me a contract.
I know. I wish someone would give me a contract to speak the truth.
I think we probably signed ours upstairs years ago.
Mark, I don't know if you look really any good in that bubble suit thing.
I think I'd look fucking gorgeous in that. I'm like, I'm going to go and make one. I'm surprised that's not, they probably got a job lot. The blow up black suit and the white Chinese balloon. Probably went to a balloon shop shopping for an afternoon just to come up with this whole white hat disclosure plan. Hey, I got to imagine the meeting. Balloons. That's what we got to do.
Yes, I know.
Gotta wake them up.
Yeah. So all of these storylines that sound fearful, I think a lot of that is white hat controlled.
Yeah. I mean, I just put up an interview with Tommy Robinson, right? Which I know is going to get loads of flack, but he's out here exposing things and showing things because what's going on in Ireland is so outrageous. There's like a little town of 10,000 people and they've just had 3,500 refugees just dumped in there. It's 35% of the population. Another village with 150 people just had 300 refugees. The population that's been there for hundreds of years is now a minority overnight. It's so ridiculous, but this is what it's taken to actually get people to get off their asses and stand in the streets and say no.
I mean, that's another big thing that's happened for me is that before 2020, if you'd have asked me what my political leanings were, I would have said I was liberal leaning towards Labour.
Me too.
Now, and somebody like Katie Hopkins, I would have said to you, I don't like her.
I think she's brilliant.
And now,
I love her.
Yes, but now when I can see what's been going on, I think she's so brave.
Yeah.
And when you actually listen to her story, if you think you and I have had it difficult, you should hear what they've been doing to her. I mean, it's outrageous.
Same with Tommy. I spoke to him and people say, oh, what are you going to interview that racist for? I met 4 of his best friends. 2 of them are Asian. I'm like, well, that's not racist, is it?
Yeah.
And then if you actually sit and listen to, I know we stand on the shoulders of giants as well. I mean, most of these books behind me are written by people that have been at this for 30, 50 years, and they've been through tremendous stuff as well. And we're just all for me, we're all just a team.
Yeah.
We do things at different times because that's what we volunteered to do. But anyway, the good news is that you are also, like me, an apocalyptimist.
What's that?
An apocalyptimist.
Apocalyptimist. I can't even say it.
How much have you been drinking? Apocalyptimist. It's like, here's the apocalypse, which is just unveiling, and I'm optimistic about the outcome.
Absolutely. Well, I think the outcome has already happened. As I was saying, I think we've already reached the vibration that we needed to get to, and we are now just seeing the aftermath. Actually,
what's it going to look like? Have you had any visions about? Because I've seen glimpses of what I would call 5D stuff, and it's kind of weird. It's like a reality that's kind of, the best way I could describe it is it's like animated. It's hyper real.
I think that it's the future is not going to look, we're not all going to look much different to what we look like now. Everything's going to be very similar to what we look like now, but we're just all going to be hopefully in more in a heart space. And I think that technology is going to be incredibly different in our lives. And I don't think we should be afraid of it. We should only be afraid of who's controlling the technology, not the technology itself. And again, this is another interesting thing. I wouldn't have put myself down normally as a futurist or somebody that really understands technology. I mean, I couldn't even get what was that thing you sent me earlier?
I wasn't gonna tell anybody. I didn't want to embarrass you.
Yes, I couldn't even get the what was it called? That what you said?
She couldn't get it up. That's what she said. No, StreamYard. It was StreamYard.
Exactly. I mean, I can't even work out StreamYard, but I look at this technology and I think it's amazing. I really do. And I really think that with the right heart space, this technology could really be something amazing. And I think that's the importance of it. If we had the old consciousness and that technology, it could be very scary. But I think if you've got the right consciousness, then this technology could be pretty amazing.
And the best technology of all, you're wearing it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, actually, your DNA is the best technology, like you're saying, of all. and you access it through going in, not through worrying about what's happening outside. You go inside, you connect to it, and then everything in your life will flow.
Yes, it does. And what a beautiful way to end that and to send Michelle off to bed.
Yeah, I've got dogs. I expect you know I've got dogs, and they're all here going.
I know.
They're all sighing because it's like, God, it's way past our bedtime. You know,
I've had to lock the cat out because she comes and sits and just points me towards the food dish or whatever it is that she wants.
Actually, while we've been talking, I've heard my cat moaning because, you know, he wants to be fed. So,
Well,
yeah.
Okay, well, I'll let you go. It's fantastic to speak to you. I look forward to meeting you in the flesh one day. But
Yes,
keep
absolutely.
going. Keep
yes,
going.
and you too. And it's been lovely to see you today.
Thank you very much, Michelle.
All right, take care, lovely.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.